I'm so excited to have you on, Lori. Taking time out of your busy day to join us. Um, all right, so this is going to be similar. We're just going to talk with Lori about her business and her growth. So a few things I'm going to shout out about Lori. I know that over the past within this year, a few things happened. You booked your first celebrity client, you raised your
Mhm.
rates and booked multiple clients, and you also got your first feature in a print national
Oh,
wedding magazine. So a lot of
yes.
things happened for you this year, which is
Mhm.
always exciting to talk about. And I want to talk about and that's like so for everybody's context why we're so excited to have Lori here, just to share a little bit more of. So we're going to ask questions about what led to all of this and just go from it. All
Okay.
right. So for starters, do you mind letting us know where you're based, your name, and the name of your business?
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Lori Lewis. I am in the metropolitan Detroit area. So, Detroit is what I usually say. I've been in the business. Well, sorry. Business name is Direct Her Weddings. I started off as the director, but have just recently evolved, actually during the course, to just Direct Her Weddings. Because there's multiple hers. So play on the word her, HER. Been in the industry for approximately 24 years, but as the director, 5 years. So I've enjoyed just listening, just to throw that in to everything. And it just reiterates and is helping me plan for first quarter 2023. But I know we'll get into that shortly.
Oh, I love that. I love that. This is the time to plan for next year, y'all. So yes,
Yes,
uh, it's if you want to grow every year, you want your business to change every year, you got to do it every year, right? And take that.
absolutely.
So obviously, Lori has grown. A lot of things have happened, but you still gotta. If you want to keep growing, you keep building, right? So
That's
I
right.
love it.
That's right.
So for how long were you interested in transitioning into more full service weddings? So I know that I think that's something else that happened this year. So how long were you interested in doing that?
So, interesting question. So, I never was really into, or I thought that I really wasn't going to do full planning. My thing was always, I'm the director. So, day of coordinating was my specialty, if you will. But as I've evolved in the industry and just, from the course, I realized that I was already at least doing partial coordination. I'm just like, hey, I'm not getting paid enough. So, it was just that whole shift in mindset and realizing that, and you coaching me really because I was already doing something and I wasn't getting paid for it. So that was just my big epiphany during this whole year because I didn't realize that I was already giving my clients the service that I thought I would never do. And so then it was just time to shift to getting paid for what it is I do. So I had to
Mhm.
shift from just thinking I was just a day up coordinator and really just hone and really fix up my service offerings, right? To show my clients that I'm available to do everything that they need, but I had to believe that and understand it for myself. So I know I'm moving on past that question, right?
Well, I mean, that was good. I mean, listen, these are
Yeah,
just prompts to get us started, but
yeah,
this is all
yeah,
because you have to believe it. A
yeah.
lot of times people, you can tell when someone, there are people that I've spoken to, encountered who are like, well, I just can't wait. Once I get that first $10,000 client, I would have made it. And I've
Hmm.
literally seen someone get a $10,000 client and then freak themselves out and just refund the money and walk away because they
Oh,
did not believe it that they
hmm,
could do it. And I
hmm.
believed it. I was just like, man, what you doing? And this person, of course, didn't tell me until after they gave the refund. I was like, come on, we can have a conversation about But I think that
Yeah.
a lot of times it's oh, I just can't find the clients or I just can't do this. But really a lot of times you're the one holding yourself back, and it's belief. And that's why we spend a lot of time with mindset. And
Hmm.
mindset is not just posting an affirmation one day and then poof, your mindset changes. You really have to like refine your mind. You got to be around people who are doing it. You have to see it, right? It's what holds a lot of planners back, in my opinion, is a
Hmm.
lot of these Facebook groups where everybody's doing $500 setups, $700 setups. and do and
Mhm.
everybody's complaining about it and everybody, so you think that this is normal. And so because you're
Right.
surrounded by that, you think it's normal. It's funny, I was speaking to someone the other day, someone who recently graduated, and she said since joining the program, she's left a lot of Facebook groups because she realized that the conversations were
Hmm.
drawing her down as opposed to helping her see what's available. And so it's like that, all of that affects your mindset, right? And
Absolutely.
so you weren't veering off. All that to say, you weren't veering off. I think that was a very
Yeah.
important point. And obviously,
Yes.
as an educator, I know you know
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm always open to hearing what you have to say.
Yeah,
Uh,
that social media whole thing is real, right? You scroll too much on social media and you just feel like you're unworthy, or what I was starting to do is like, I already do that, or I have everything that I need. There's very rare that a client, and I'm not trying to, pat myself on the back, but in just learning through this program, there's very little that my clients can come to that I don't have the answer, I can't go get the answer, you know, because it's also establishing that network. I've grown very closer to others in the industry now in my area. And we've been able to just, it's that whole like-minded masterminding with like-minded people. So that's been crucial as well. Your coaching plus establishing my network are really the key ingredients that have just catapulted me. I believe that. And then what you exert or what you put out there is what you receive. I mean, things are just coming at me that I'm just like, wow, wow. I mean, it's like every week I'm getting a hit. And I know it's only one, but I'm just grateful for that because that was not happening before. So,
mhm.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, once a week is a lot. Once a week is a
yeah,
lot. If you're getting a lead a week, that's 50 something leads in a year. That's a lot.
yeah,
And so it's again going back to supply and demand. You cannot do 50. I hope you're not planning to do 50 weddings. So if you're getting that many leads,
yeah,
and I'm sure that there's some weeks that you get more than one too, it's like then
yeah,
at that point the demand is much higher than your
yeah,
supply. Like it makes sense, right? That's a good place to be.
yes.
That's awesome. So what do you think? I know we already talked about, I think we just talked about changes that affected you being able to get more full service clients. So after the mindset, was there anything like that you physically like how did that change what you were putting out there? Like what if you could just point to maybe one or two things that you think made the biggest impact after that?
Well, so definitely was the mindset. And then it was just getting clear with the services I offered. And so I had to restructure all my services, if you will, renamed, redefined, went through, okay, how is the partial different from the full, and just really I mean, even last night I was looking through it like, yep, just making sure, that my services were clear because I remember you telling me one time, like, you can't charge this for partial. You got to see the difference between a partial and the full, right? There have to be some
Mhm.
distinct differences, especially when you're at the price point that I'm at. So I was even doing that last night. So it was mindset, my services, and then getting my systems in place. You were just talking about how automating those emails. I still haven't perfected it, but I'm still further along than I was when I first started the program for sure.
Mhm.
So my plan is to be done in January. I've totally blocked January and February off. Like I need time to just structure, refine those systems. Might need to tweak them, but just want to have those in place before season begins for me in March.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's excellent. That's excellent. And I mean, like, again, it's not, I don't believe in fully automating the emails. So it's just about
mm-hmm.
the template, having them, right? I don't
Yes.
fully believe in fully automating it. So it sounds
Yeah.
like you're pretty much, but then obviously every year you're going to refine and take another step up.
Yes.
Okay, so you booked a celebrity wedding this year, and
Yeah.
I take no at least I don't think any credit for how you came into contact with this celebrity, or unless maybe there's a piece of story I'm missing. But did you get any support as far as like closing on the deal, or any support in like getting the client?
It was all you. What are you talking about? You walked me through that. First of all, I just recently found out how I even got it. And I
Okay.
did want to make sure did want to make sure to say this. I didn't write this down, but I do want to mention this to everyone who's on. You never know who's watching you.
Mm.
Seriously, you never know who's watching, because the way that I got that wedding, and so for those who don't know, my day job, I'm a teacher, my high school teacher. So I've been a teacher as long as I've been a wedding planner. And I was referred to Marvin Winans' wedding from a parent, okay? But the way she referred me was because she and the matron of honor go to the same hairdresser in conversation, right? And the parent is never, and I'm gonna tell you how it's a full circle moment too, because the parent has never been to a wedding. I mean, she knew what I did, but you know, they weren't in the role of doing weddings. They're both corporate. She and her husband are both corporate. So when the hairdresser mentioned that they needed a coordinator, some things weren't working out at the church with whom they had and all of that, she mentioned my name, right? And I literally just found that out literally like a month or so ago. The wedding was in April. And then to bring it back full circle, now that person has hired me to do her daughter's wedding next year.
Okay.
So, right.
Yeah.
So you just never know who's watching you when you don't, you know, you're not thinking. So it was a process. It was not easy. So coach, I call you coach, right? You coached me through that because it was it was a process to the point where I was just like, if I get it, I get it. If not, it's not. But it all worked out. It was a wonderful experience. It was, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was a great experience. I just recently went back. They debuted their wedding video and was able to go back and just meet some individuals, and they were still just talking about how wonderful the day was. So, but it was a great experience. It was not easy. It was challenging, but it was a great experience. So
Yeah, no, I mean, can you guys hear me all right?
you're faded out a little bit.
Yeah, the volume went down for me as well. You know, I'm just gonna quit on the earbuds.
Okay.
Let's do this. Something's going on with my Zoom, but it's all good, y'all. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So what I appreciate you sharing, and I love it. And like I said, I don't take any credit for how you came across encounter with them, because again, I teach what I teach, and the things I don't teach, I don't. Right? I don't teach how to get celebrity weddings, but you do have to know how to sell. Right? We just talked about selling, taking people from interested to close. Just because someone was interested, and this was a very strong recommendation. This is somebody who knows you personally. They know your character. They've watched the way you operate. You have a good attitude. You know, you have a strong business. It's a real business. They know them. So this is a strong recommendation. But there were still barriers that this person was having, and obviously we can't talk about everything here. But you know, sales is never just, here's my price, they sign, we move on. Well, I don't want to say never. Sometimes that's the case, but if that's the case, it was because of a very strong sales call, right? But sometimes some people do have other challenges, like
Correct.
maybe they are nervous about something, or they have a lot of people in their ear, or you know, which is going to be the case with certain people who are a little higher profile, and there's a lot of things, and not even just that, right? Like we've had even in our program, we had someone who came back and reported, oh, I just, you know, I booked a new client at my new price point, and I'm really proud of it because I didn't know the bride's parents were going to join, and they grilled me on the questions, right? Because they're like, you know how parents are, oh, before, I don't want nobody just advantage of my daughter, and how you going to spend so much, you know, I got back in my day when I got married, we didn't even need a wedding planner to talk less of spending 4 figures, you know, that kind of energy. But by the end of that sales call, they were like, okay, now we're ready to move forward. So sales is always a conversation. It's not just a checklist. And so one of the things that I love about working with people on a longer term is the support. Sometimes, you know, that's what I always tell people, Planners for Profit is actually not a course, it's a program. And the reason I use that word is because a course is a bunch of videos that you watch, you go home and implement. With a program, you know, transparently, I'll say a lot of times, people want modules and they submit their homework, we catch things that were, maybe
Right.
they might just be some situational things that I don't think are going to work. And sometimes it's maybe you misunderstood some of the things in the
Yeah.
module. And so we keep putting you back on track, right? So it's like, there's so many elements of support. But one of the cool things I love is being able to support people in situations like this. A lot of
Mhm.
times when when someone goes from zero, never selling full service to trying to sell their first package for like 5,000 or whatever, it's nerve-wracking. It's like somebody asked me a
Mhm.
question. It's like, I don't want to ruin it. It's like the nerves and
Right.
everything. Somebody just say, hey, this is how you proceed. So that was one of the conversations that me and Lorri had. And I remember we first talked about the inquiry, and then I followed up, and I was just like, what's going on? Because for me, I was
Right.
that person, like, tell me where we
Yeah.
at. And then when you let me know, we were able to talk to it, and I was so excited when you booked it. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah. You coached me through that whole thing. I don't look at this as a course either. I mean, that was a straight just coaching moment. I wish we could have videotaped it. You know, I mean, really, because I think at one point I was just like, you know what? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm so okay. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I'd love to do it. And it was never really about it. Not to give too much. It really wasn't about me, or my services. It was some external factors that had to be dealt with. So, but it was awesome. It worked out how it was supposed to, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity. So,
Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
All right. So I think I have like maybe one or two more questions, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So
Sure.
oh yeah. So what support do you feel like you got as far as the print magazine, the print feature? So
Again, it's about setting intentions, which you are all about, just setting those intentions and planning ahead, right? And my intent was, I had been featured on Mona Lucci's blog, their Instagram, but my intent, I wanted to be print. And that was just my intent. And so I was able to actually, my son got married this year, and I was able to do that reverse engineering and really just set up their celebration so it could be submitted to Mona Lucci. I already knew what the requirements were. So I intentionally planned it the way I did, picked the vendors I did for my son's wedding celebration. And that's what's being featured. So um, through coaching, right? Through your teachings and our live classes in the resources from the program, I was able to just be intentional about what I wanted to do, right? Next year, I want to hit Brides magazine. I want to hit Essence. So it's about, I literally have those pages bookmarked, because to remind myself what exactly they're looking for. And I look at the weddings that they do post, right? And how can I send them something that matches their qualifications, but it's something different than what they posted. And my son's wedding it had a boho feel, and they eloped. So they had a private elopement, but they came to Detroit and did a wedding celebration with family. So we had a major venue that we were able to just carry over that boho theme. I got the right photographer, got the right designer for decor, and we just went from there. I told them what my vision was. I was like, this is what I want. Kept looking at Mona Lucci's guidelines and just made it happen. And it was just like I submitted it and they responded back like right away. So yeah, I'm super excited about that because that's like that was top of the hit list this year. So, and then for it to be my son's wedding, I mean, that's just the extra bonus.
I love it. I love it. I mean, though everything it's great. I mean, we do talk about it. It's one of the video in the modules, right? Like
Yeah.
requirements, what people are looking for, and just tools for success when you're submitting. But I mean, it was just I was so excited when I found out too, especially that was your son's wedding. But yeah, like this is amazing. All right. So what advice do you have for people who are listening now? They're like, man, like I relate with her. I'm good at what I do, and I want to hit these milestones, right? So what advice would you have? Who want to hit these milestones, booking more full service clients, and just kind of, raising their rates, just overall, just doing some of the things you were able to accomplish. Like, what advice would you have?
So I would say, if you're anything like me over the past 5 years, since I really went into this industry like real strong for the past 5 years, and I got a personal coach, I went to conferences, and nothing against conferences. But one thing I will say about Planners Who Profit, it's personalized, right? It's a personalized experience. Not that my coaching wasn't, but coaching was about me. Planners Who Profit is about you as a wedding or event planner. And so, on top of just working on me, it also helped me hone in to what I want to do in this industry, right? And there's no other program out there that really is going to personalize this training for you. And if finances is an issue, right? Because finance is always, it's worth every single investment. The investment, what it is, I've already made the money back. I didn't miss a penny. I mean, so it's just worth it. I don't know how else to explain it. If you're really serious about being in this industry, and this industry is very, people say it's what's the word I want? Saturated with planners, but it's really not. You'd be surprised that how many planners leave this industry because they're like, I don't want to work with these brides, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. What job doesn't have its challenges? But if you really feel like this is your calling to be a help to couples and really want to be involved in an industry that's ever evolving, weddings I did 5 years ago are not what weddings are now. And if you like being among in an industry that's constantly changing, you'd be surprised. I've done people's weddings. They come back for second weddings. They got divorced. They get married again. I've done that. You got now vow renewals. I mean, there's just so much that can happen in this industry that it's enough for everybody. So don't feel like it's saturated and there's a bunch of people doing weddings. It's enough out here for all of us. And if you're really serious about just taking it to the next level, I know that's so cliche, but it's so true. If you're ready to put in the work, take your business to the next level, do it. You won't regret it. That's the best advice. I mean, I'm very blunt. My students will tell me I'm just very blunt. Like, hey, if this is what you want to do, then you got to invest in it. To become a teacher, I had to invest. I had to go back to school. I had to get a master's degree to teach. So if I can spend over $50,000 in student loans, right, to be a teacher, then why not invest in my doing what really is, I feel, my passion. This is my passion. My day job is my job, right? But this is my passion. So yeah, there you go.
I love it. I wasn't expecting that answer so direct, but you were like, yeah. This is what it is. I mean, I love it. This is why this is becoming my passion.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna say it out loud. Coaching, of event planning, right? So, and my passion is seeing people grow and seeing people's not even just seeing people grow. I like seeing people make money. I'm just gonna say it. I like seeing people make money, and the reason is that I've seen people build businesses, and it looks like it's good. It's all shiny on the outside, and then all of a sudden it just disappears, and it's because they never made money. Yeah, they may have even, some people even make it in magazines, and then but they're not making money. And so because you're not making money, you eventually just say it's not working, when really sometimes the issue is just your approach, right? Yeah. And so like I love doing this. I love coaching. When people go silent in our coaching program, I reach out. I'm like, hey, let's, because it's not just the money. Like I actually want to see the result on the other end.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And I want, like, it is also my passion. There's nothing wrong with making money from your passion, right? So that is, and I want to see more event planners who are passionate about planning also make money, right? And connect those dots, So I'm so glad that you shared that. Thanks for the endorsement, but this is what we love to do, the truth is, I mean, we've talked about a lot today, and I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I didn't really hold back on a whole lot. We gave you some real nuggets, some real juice and nuggets today. But a lot of times you need support to like actually get it done, right? You actually need to like we need to work through it together. Just like I was saying earlier, like a lot of times, you know, that I see modules and people are like, oh, I watched this module and I submitted this. And I'm like, okay. And I look at the critique and I'm like, oh, you were 80% there. You know, maybe they missed this piece or that piece, which is normal. We're all humans. So then I get the opportunity to kind of correct so that it can actually work for you, right? Occasionally, you need to push. Because I remember the first thing you said when I was like, oh, what's going on with that wedding? And you were like, I mean, if it happens, it happens. And in my mind, I was like, it needs to happen. Like, I want to see, like, I was like, I want to see it, you know?
Right,
like, I want to see it in the TV. And even afterwards, I was like sending you all the videos, like, oh, this person made a meme about it. Oh, this person, like, I don't know. I guess I'm just nosy.
I love it.
Like, I love I just enjoy seeing it. So I think that this is my passion and something that I desire. I genuinely get sad when I see businesses close. Like it's and I genuinely get so happy when I see businesses get to a point, like it's like literally your business is at a point where like you'll never not make money unless you just retire. You know, that makes me happy to see that. And when I say make money, I'm not just talking about just receiving money from clients. There's a difference between receiving money from clients and actually making money. And it's like,
correct.
You'll never, you know, and for me, that brings me joy to see that. So like that's what we do here. And it's amazing. It's amazing to be connected to you. I think I told you that when we first joined, but it still feels the same way. You know, obviously. And I also, the last thing I want to say is, I love the fact that you're still teaching. I think that there is nothing wrong, like there's nothing, like I think you obviously are passionate about it. Like I see all your posts, I see that you volunteer for the prom and all that. You obviously love these kids. So it's like if you that's okay. But just because you're doing that doesn't mean you shouldn't be paying yourself from your business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's working two ways. I'm being an inspiration to them. A lot of them are like, I just had a student like, Miss Lewis, can I come shadow you? I'm like, no, you can come work. You're not going to just sit and watch me, but yeah, come, you know, and they're inspired. I share my journey and we do some simulations. So in addition to just teaching English, I'm teaching, you know, life and entrepreneurship. A lot of these kids are like, you know, I don't want to do college. I want to launch my business. So they've motivated me to do something, you know, new in 2023 as well. So we'll see where that goes.
That is awesome.
So,
I love it. I love it. That is amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's what I love to hear. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure today's a Monday, so I'm sure you're still in school. But thank you.
I am. Okay. Thank you.
Honor. It really has. And if anybody has any other questions, please drop them in the chat. I think Lorri might be around for a few more minutes before you wrap up. So please drop any other questions in the chat. And thanks for all the kudos. I'm seeing all the notes. So people love your necklace. They're happy for you.
Thanks. Thanks. It's all crooked. You know I wore this? You know why I wore this? Because you called me Miss L. I was like, I gotta wear my L necklace.
Yeah, I go back and forth between saying people's names.
I love that.
Confidential, because I'm like, I don't really know. Sometimes we don't want their business out there. And then y'all comment and you're like, that's me. And I'm like, okay, I guess
Miss L is me. Like, I am L.
I guess it doesn't have to be confidential then. But yeah. Well, at least y'all know I'm not lying when I come up with those Miss L, Miss B, whatever. So
I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you so much, Lorri. This was awesome.
Thank you so much.
An amazing way to wrap this up.